Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan, Tim.
I'm going to tell you a story here. It's kind of a long one, so to speak. There's an arc involved in all of this. Yeah.
Okay. A story with an arc is a good story.
So last Sunday was the Juice's 10th birthday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they were going to be with me most of the weekend and then go back to the Beast's house 2 p.m. on Sunday so that she could have a party there with some school friends. She had a party here the day before with our family, my parents, and a few neighbor girls.
Okay.
So anyways, that was Saturday. That party seemed nice, as ramshackly thrown together as it was. So that night, I'm laying in bed with the wife, and then once we get done doing it, I check my phone. And
doing it?
Putting my penis in her vagina until I ejaculate inside of it.
Okay, I didn't know if you were talking about done doing the party or what, so clarification was needed.
Yeah. And then I look, and I got a missed call from
the Beast.
And then a text that says, I need you to call me as soon as you can. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit now? And I call her, and she proceeds to tell me that she was most likely directly exposed to COVID because she went to go see a friend she used to work with to get some weed from her.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And just like in Pineapple Express or the movie Half Baked, stay and smoke with me a little. So she smokes with this girl. They share a pipe. That was a week prior to her telling me. She didn't find out until that day because she was surfing through Facebook and this girl posts something that says, well, if you didn't know anybody with COVID, now you do. And she had an oh shit moment, realizing they had smoked together 5, 6, 7 days prior.
Did they make out?
They did not.
Did they exchange bodily fluids?
Well, they shared a pipe, so, spit, possibly. Anyways, so this girl was going to have knee surgery last week, and she had her pre-op COVID test, which they do before any sort of surgery right now.
Yeah.
It came out positive. She was asymptomatic, but still positive, so put the kibosh on any of her surgery for a knee. So
the Beast
tells me this, and I'm just like, you gotta be fucking shitting me. She's like, so yeah, we can't have the Juice's party tomorrow. I'm like, oh, you stupid bitch! I'm sitting here thinking, it's bad enough that you did crank over the summer and had the girls taken out of your home on 2 separate occasions, but now you're gonna have to cancel your daughter's birthday party because you were dumb enough to fucking share a oneie with some friend of yours who you bought weed from. What a colossal fucking bonehead move. And she tells me, so I texted her, happy birthday, I can't wait to see you, so she'll wake up to that, and the day will start off all right. So are you going to tell her or am I? I'm like, fuck you, it's your deal. You fucking tell her. So fast forward to the next morning, because my wife and I, after that, spent 45 minutes discussing all the people we possibly have to notify.
Whatever.
Well, anybody that had been in our house that day, which includes the next door neighbor girl and 2 girls down the street, and my parents, who are fucking elderly, and then my wife, who had, we had been exposed to the girls right after
the Beast
had done what she did, which means everybody here. My wife, the masseuse, had seen 20-some clients that week. Could be a problem. Anyways, the next morning I wake up the Juice, and it's just me and her 3-year-old sister to start out. And, I tell her, and she starts crying, obviously, because she had this beautiful dress that she picked out at Target that she asked my mom to buy her so she could wear it to her party because it was going to be a fancy dress party over at
the Beast's
house. So she doesn't get to wear the dress. I tell her all of this, what her mom did. I'm like, are you mad? She's like, I'm not mad at Mom. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean you're not mad at Mom? Your mom went to go buy drugs from somebody and then got high with them and exposed herself to COVID and then exposed all of us to COVID. And as a direct effect from the cause of her doing all that, you don't get to have your fancy dress birthday party.
Yeah, but the first part, your mother went to go buy drugs.
I don't know. She just saw it as these things happen.
And,
COVID exposure.
And the FPC, whatever the fuck they are, the child family people. CPS, they don't care that she's smoking weed.
No, they do not. Not even the cops. They don't really make a big deal out of it. So I tell her all that, and she's upset, but we still kind of save most of the day because the next few hours,
the beast
is frantically trying to find a place to go get tested. And she can't find anywhere. Most of them are, you need an appointment. There's no place to just drive up and get tested like they make it sound on the news. You have to make an appointment to go there to drive up to get tested. If you want to go to your regular physician's office, it's like 2 or 3 days ahead of time you got to try to schedule. And then also any urgent care where there are only COVID positive patients or COVID symptom showing patients. She had her other kid and refused to take her with, and apparently didn't have anybody else to watch her except for us. And we're just like, no, this is your mess. Figure it out.
Shut your mouth, you stupid bitch.
So the juice, she keeps thinking that, oh, that's unfortunate that mom got exposed to COVID. And
the beast
is like, so is she awake? I'm like, yes. And I told her. We're backtracking to the morning when she woke up.
Yeah.
Right after I told her. She's like, fuck you. How could you do that? Well, I wanted to give her the truth, not your powder puff, sugar-coated version of what's transpired. Because that would be
Mommy was
fucking
trying
stupid.
to save somebody's life after a crane fell on them.
She's not that creative. What she tried to tell her on the phone is that she was exposed to somebody at work.
You liar!
And then later on, the juice is on the phone with
the beast's
aunt calling from Arkansas. This is her favorite aunt. This is one of her few family members that I, talk to on the regular when they come to town. Mm-hmm. She's had a pretty crazy life.
Sounds like everybody in that family has a crazy life.
Yeah, well, she, oddly enough, the beast's grandma, I think, had a one-off deal with some black dude, so her aunt's black.
Okay.
And this aunt back in the day had a drug problem of her own and had her kids taken away by CPS, and 2 of her 3 kids ended up with her sister on a farm up north here. And then the oldest one was kind of doing her own thing.
What is this with family and losing their children?
I don't know, but the reason the aunt is important in all this, the aunt is just like, I don't know how she hasn't learned from what happened to me, is what she said the whole summer, right? So the juice is on the phone with the aunt, who then, I hear the juice say, yeah, mom was exposed to COVID by somebody at work, and so we can't have my party. In the background, I just went, that's not what happened. And then the aunt talks to me, and I tell her what really happened. She's fit to be fucking tied.
But she's down in Arkansas, so it's not like she can do anything.
Yeah. Okay, so let's fast forward back to
the beast
trying to find a place to get tested. She couldn't find any place. She comes to pick up the girls. I go outside to talk to her first about some stuff. And one of the things is about getting tested. She's like, I don't know. I don't have to talk about this with you. I'm like, actually, you fucking do. I know you don't want to have to sit here and answer to me for anything, but it involves our children and my household now. It's like, you're going to end up with a harassment restraining order against you. I'm like, I'm not. But feel free to fill one out, and then we can go to court, and I'll tell the judge why I was putting the full court press on you in my driveway, because you have a moral obligation to notify anybody that you have exposed. It's a global pandemic, you stupid cunt. You didn't just fucking catch the flu. So anyways, then she goes from being all piss and vinegar to crying about how she can't work because she thought she had symptoms and they want her to quarantine for 14 days and she's not going to be able to pay her rent. She means mortgage. Dumb fuck. And she's going to lose her house. I'm like, boo-hoo, it's not my fucking problem.
I almost wish she would that way. It'd be like, I have to live in a car. Can you take the girls?
Right.
Sure, no problem.
That'd be super awesome for me. But the thing about it is that she has been working for DoorDash.
That's her job?
That was her job while she was waiting to start the new job at a different bar because she quit the one she was at.
Aww.
She walked out, couldn't handle the drama.
I don't think I've ever seen her when I've been there. Grant, I've only been there once and twice in the last 10 years.
That's fine. You're not missing anything. It's a shithole.
It is.
We won't name the place, but it's a shithole in Anoka, which narrows
There's
it
a lot
down
of shitholes in
to
Anoka.
a number of places.
There's a lot of shitholes in Anoka, sorry to say.
So the fact that she's been door dashing almost nonstop for the last week to try to earn this bonus means that she has potentially exposed, we'll say, anywhere from 50 to 100 customers as she goes and picks up their food, keeps it in her car, takes it to their domicile or wherever she's delivering it, and she's all pissed at me for trying to get her to commit to when she's going to get a test, because I want to know when the fuck we're going to know if she's positive or negative. Because one thing, it holds up my wife being able to work possibly. That's a big deal. It's a lot of appointments for her to cancel. That's money we need. I'm not working right now. I quit my job. Didn't really talk about that on the show yet, but I did, and we'll discuss it on an episode later.
You quit in a truly you fashion.
I did. End of conversation. She loads up the girls. She goes. Later that night, she's like, I don't know what I should do. I talked to a lady at a place where I can go and get tested tomorrow. And they say I got to show up right away in the morning, and even then it's not a guarantee. But if I do that, what do I do with the girls? I'm like, what do you mean? Just go while they're sleeping or something, or they're home with the other
your
one.
oldest is 10 now. They can be home for...
a couple hours.
Yeah, like 2 hours, I think.
Then she just breaks off into telling me about this conversation she had with this lady at the drive-up place. And basically all the advice that the lady was giving her on the phone was about kids that live in one house. And she said to the lady, well, you just told me quarantine with them and then don't quarantine with them. What should I do? She's like, well, I mean, do you have some place where they could go? She's like, no, you don't understand. Their father and I aren't together. They live in 2 different houses. This involves 2 households and also grandparents. She's like, oh, well, I don't know what to tell you.
Other than you're a stupid bitch.
So that's the advice they have for people about quarantining, is if you can quarantine alone, try to, possibly not pass it on to anybody in case there was minor exposure. The girls had been around her. They hadn't really been in close contact with her that much because they had been with me, a large part of that week in between the exposure and the figuring it out. But their other sister had slept in bed with
the beast
2 nights. So that was like, uh-oh.
Well, that's before. I'd be more worried if they got the flu, but...
Yeah. Well, anyways. So after I need some guidance here. I need you to tell me what to do. I'm like, are you basically saying you want me to come pick up the girls? She's like, I don't know. What do you think? I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'll just come fucking pick up the girls.
Just shoot yourself in the head and leave me the children.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
So I went and picked up the girls again on the Juice's birthday. So Sunday night, they were with their mom for a few hours. It wasn't quality time by any measure. They kind of had a mini birthday party where they had some cake and they put on some temporary tattoos all over their bodies. And they were with me all week.
Do you have a tramp stamp, young lady?
No, but I did once upon a time ago give the Juice a tramp stamp temporary tattoo of these 2 cherries. I thought it was delightfully tasteless.
The beast
gets tested on Monday. She just got her results today.
Huh.
2 to 4 days to get results.
Took 5.
Yeah. And she's negative, which is why you're here right now. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation for another week and a half.
Dude, invite me over. I don't give a shit. I almost want to get COVID so I could stay home for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know how much model painting and building I could get done? How much Red Dead Redemption Online I could play?
Oh, Jesus
how much
Christ.
4-wheeling I could do?
How many first world problems you could solve?
First world problems.
Exactly. Don't be jealous just because my kids are older and I got a little more freedom.
I don't know if I call it freedom.
I can go do stuff.
You can.
I left my 10-year-old at home.
But you sometimes also can be told, don't come home.
That's not my fault.
So the reason I bring all this up is not just to slander
the beast,
because she does a good enough job of making herself look bad.
You can't make this shit up.
I just wanted to point out to people that might be curious who haven't been in this situation about testing. You think from the way that they talked about it when this shit first hit months ago, you could just go to one of their drive-up centers and get tested. But I had a coworker back in March who thought she had it, and they basically told her, well, we're only doing frontline staff right now, so unless you have severe symptoms, and at that time she really didn't yet, we won't test you. They were kind of still trying to hold off on testing so many people.
Still doing that.
They're trying to test as many as they can.
Yeah, they want to pump those numbers up. Like I heard on the news, on the radio the other day, well, there's more and more positive cases in Anoka and Hennepin County. I was like, well, yeah, you're fucking testing everybody. Surprised they haven't tried to test me.
Well, it's kind of how they find it.
Yeah, but what does it even fucking matter? The CDC on their website said 86% of people that caught COVID claim they wear a mask all the time.
Well, that doesn't mean that it's true.
Well, it's from the CDC's website. So of the 86, so are you saying 100% of them are full of shit? Or...
That'd be like if your wife told you 86% of the guys I banged before you all wore condoms. You're kind of taking her for her word on it, aren't you?
Yeah, but I have a hard time believing that all those people didn't wear a mask all the time. Well, I bet most of them did.
So that's what trying to get tested these days is like, as you call your doctor and hope they have an opening, or you try to get into a next day drive-up center, or apparently you find an urgent care that deals only with COVID patients, and you go there and it's basically like this room full of disgustingly sick people who are all coughing the Black Plague on each other. Doesn't that sound neat?
No, a lot of people that are finding out is they're testing them if you go in for blood work or something. Like, oh, you have COVID. So you could just do that. Because, again, what is it? 90% of people don't have any symptoms?
I don't know if it's that many.
I think it's about that many.
Well, I had a client at my old job there who was going in for some dental work that required sedation, so they were going to test him. They tested him. He was positive. He lives in a group home. The group home went into lockdown. They had one staff that was going to be there around the clock for 10 fucking days. Talk about a shit job. You're like, oh, I've been exposed and I have to fucking live at work now? That's super awesome.
Bring me my PlayStation.
And then the whole time, they do a round of testing in-house. Nobody else tests positive at all. Nobody ever showed symptoms.
See?
It's such a mixed bag because you'll get people that suddenly they go from, I feel fine, to the next day they're like, I feel like death.
Like I said, this disease isn't anywhere near what it was hyped up to be.
I don't know. I'm still on the fence. I'm just glad that I didn't have to deal with it because right now, without a job, I don't have insurance. And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Beast.
If you just fucked me where we have hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills, I will be suing your broke, penniless ass just on principle.
I was going to say, you just said she's broke and penniless. So how the fuck are you going to get anything out of her?
Well, you got to do what you got to do to prove a point. I'm a man of principle. I'm old school like that.
You definitely are.
Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It? That is at What Do We Call It? You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan, Tim.
And that's the end.